Recently, there have been several developments in the case involving the murder of Botham Jean by Amber Guyger. To my dismay, when we take a closer look at this event and several other events that have happened in conjunction with it, it becomes apparent that we are bearing witness to more of the same satanic blood sacrifice rituals. For starters, Benjamin Crump was the attorney for Botham Jean's family. Attorney Benjamin Crump was also involved in other high-profile cases across the country, which lets us know that he has been selected and handpicked to participate in each of these rituals by the orchestrators of these events. He was the attorney for Trayvon Martin's family, whose son was shot and killed by George Zimmerman. He was also the attorney for the family of Michael Brown, who was shot by a police officer in Missouri. He was the attorney for the family of Tamir Rice, who was killed by police in Cleveland, Ohio, while holding a toy gun. He was also the attorney for the family of Kendrick Johnson, a high school student who was found dead at his school in Valdosta, Georgia, under mysterious circumstances. And he was also the attorney for Corey Jones, who was killed by a plainclothes police officer while waiting for a tow truck in South Florida. All of these incidents involved the beast system of the dragon in the belly of Babylon devouring our children. On October 1st, Amber Guyger was convicted of Botham Jean's murder, and she was sentenced to only 10 years. During the sentencing phase, Botham's 18-year-old brother said he forgives her and asked her for a hug. They then shared an embrace which lasted for several minutes.
I don't know if this is possible, but can I give her a hug, please?
Botham's father went on to say in church that he wants to be Guyger's friend.
I'd like to become a friend at some point in time. I think I have the ability to do this. Yeah, that kind of be.
Interestingly enough, the meaning of the name Texas, where this incident occurred, is friend or ally. Coincidence? The judge, Tammy Kemp, also embraced Guyger and gave her her own personal Bible. Apparently, this display of love and compassion by the victim's family and the judge was just too much for Satan and his minions to handle, because the Freedom from Religion Foundation filed a complaint against the judge.
In the last hour, we learned about a complaint against some of the judge's behavior in the Amber Guyger trial. The Freedom from Religion Foundation filed a complaint with the state over this interaction in which Judge Tammy Kemp gives Guyger a Bible. She counsels her and then reads some passages to her.
I must mention, however, that the black judicial robe worn by Judge Kemp is actually symbolic of the false god Saturn. Priests of Saturn would wear black robes. We will come back to the connection to the false god Saturn and its significance in a moment. For now, let's continue with the trial. Joshua Brown, who was Botham Jean's next-door neighbor, gave testimony during this trial. Therefore, we are witnessing Joshua's testimony, or Yehoshua's testimony, which is a reference to the New Testament and the Messiah. Joshua Brown claimed that even though he was Botham's neighbor, he never actually met Botham until the day he was murdered.
What planet you mean? Both? Yeah, yes. Well, I met him that day.
However, he was extremely emotional on the stand. Needless to say, this entire trial has been emotionally taxing on everyone involved and even on those of us watching from our living rooms. However, I would like for you to suspend your emotional reactions to what you are witnessing for a moment, and instead, I would ask you to approach this entire incident in a purely pragmatic, logical, and analytical fashion, because in using clear and sound reasoning, absent of all emotion concerning this incident, you will be able to perceive the truth, attaining awareness and understanding of the blood sacrifice rituals being performed in front of your eyes. In his testimony, Joshua said he used to hear Botham Jean singing gospel songs in Drake.
Heard him singing every morning.
Okay, you heard him singing. What kind of things did you hear him sing?
Gospel music, Drake.
The word gospel means the teaching or revelation of Christ, which points us to the book of Revelation. The name Drake means the dragon, which is a name for Satan. Joshua's choice of dress was also very interesting, since he chose to wear a Dragon Ball Z t-shirt instead of a more conservative form of apparel like a collared shirt and slacks, being a witness in a murder trial. Unfortunately, the day after Amber Guyger was sentenced to 10 years, this young man, Joshua Brown, who gave such a moving testimony, was shot and killed at his home.
Police tell us a witness in the Amber Guyger murder trial was actually gunned down at an apartment complex in Dallas. Guyger, of course, is the former Dallas police officer who shot and killed Botham Jean as he was watching TV in his own apartment. Joshua Brown, the man you see there in the green shirt, he lived across the hall from Jean. He was a key witness in Guyger's conviction.
Just days after he gave that emotional testimony in the murder trial of Amber Guyger, Dallas police sources tell WFAA Joshua Brown was shot and killed.
One shot and then a double tap after that, and that was it.
This occurred in the 4600 block of Cedar Springs Road around 10:30 p.m. on Friday. It should be noted that Brown was rushed to Parkland Memorial Hospital, which connects this shooting back to the orchestrated mass shooting which occurred at Stoneman Douglas in Parkland. This also connects it with Masonic symbolism, since workers of stone are stone masons. There's plenty of symbolism to be found in this young man's assassination. Joshua Brown was shot and killed at his home at the Atera apartment complex. It should be noted that the Hebrew meaning for the name Atera is pray, which I might add is what we all should be doing.